In the event of an aircraft accident, there are mandatory reporting requirements. In this chapter we are going to learn when and how to report, as well as the differences between an accident and an incident, and what type of report to file. An aviation accident is defined as an occurrence associated with the operation of an aircraft which takes place between the time a person boards the aircraft with the intention of flight and all such persons disembarked, and which any person suffers death or serious injury or in which the aircraft receives substantial damage. This includes unmanned aircraft, or UAS. Unmanned aircraft accident means an occurrence associated with the operation of any public or civil unmanned aircraft system that takes place between the time the system is activated for the purpose of flight, and the time the system is deactivated at the conclusion of the mission, in which any person suffers death or serious injury, or the aircraft has a maximum gross takeoff weight of 300 pounds or greater and sustains substantial damage. Now let's define serious injury. Any injury that meets one of these criteria requires hospitalization for more than 48 hours within 7 days of the date of injury, results in the fracture to any bone, except simple fractures of fingers, toes, or nose, causes severe hemorrhages, nerve, muscle, or tendon damage, involves any internal organ, involves any second or third degree burns, or any burns affecting more than 5% of the body surface. So simple cuts and bruises, broken noses, fingers, and toes not requiring hospitalization for more than 48 hours are not considered serious injuries. Substantial damage means damage or failure which adversely affects the structural strength, performance, or flight characteristics of the aircraft, and after which it would normally require major repair or replacement of the affected component. Engine failure or damage limited to an engine, if only one engine fails, or is damaged, bent fairings, or cowling, dented skins, small puncture holes in the skin or fabric, ground damage, damage to the rotor or propeller, and damage to landing gear, wheels, tires, flaps, engine accessories, brakes, or wingtips are not considered substantial damage. The NTSB defines an incident as an occurrence other than an accident, associated with the operation of the aircraft, which affects, or could affect the safety of operations. Required to report accidents or incidents to the FAA, nor are you required to notify the NTSB of every mishap involving an aircraft. This should only be done when required by law. All aircraft accidents must be reported to the nearest National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, field office. In addition to report all aircraft accidents, the following aircraft incidents must be reported to NTSB. Flight control system malfunction or failure. Inability of any required flight crew member to perform their normal flight duties as a result of injury or illness. Failure of structural components of a turbine engine excluding compressor and turbine blades and vanes. In-flight fire. Aircraft collide in flight. Damage to property, other than the aircraft, estimated to exceed $25,000 for repair, including materials and labor, or fair market value in the event of total loss, whichever is less. For large multi-engine aircraft, more than 12,500 pounds maximum certificated takeoff weight. In-flight failure of electrical systems which requires the sustained use of an emergency bus powered by a backup source such as a battery, auxiliary power unit, or air-driven generator to retain flight control or essential instruments. In-flight failure of hydraulic systems that results in sustained reliance on the sole remaining hydraulic or mechanical system for movement of flight control surfaces. Sustained loss of the power or thrust produced by two or more engines, and an evacuation of aircraft in which an emergency egress system is utilized. Airborne collision and avoidance system resolution advisories. Damage to helicopter tail or main rotor blades, including ground damage that requires major repair or replacement of the blades. The event in which an operator, when operating an airplane as an air carrier at a public use airport on land, lands or departs on a taxiway, incorrect runway, or other areas not designated as a runway or experiences a runway incursion that requires the operator or the crew of another aircraft to take immediate corrective action to avoid a collision. In addition, an aircraft is overdue and is believed to have been involved in an accident. What information is required in the notification to the NTSB? The notification required in Section 830.5 shall contain the following information, if available. A. Type, nationality, and registration marks of the aircraft. B. Name of owner and operator of the aircraft. C. Name of the pilot in command. D. Date and time of the accident. E. Last point of departure and point of intended landing of the aircraft. Position of the aircraft with reference to some easily defined geographical point. Number of persons aboard, number killed, and number seriously injured. Nature of the accident, the weather and the extent of damage to the aircraft, so far as is known, and a description of any explosives, radioactive materials, or other dangerous articles carried. For additional information, please visit these sites.